Okay, so there is one big difference between a successful, good game of golf and a, shall we say, miserable, less successful, less enjoyable game of golf. Now, this video has been very much prompted because I've been out on the golf course with a multitude of golfers recently, from scratch golfers, single figure, mid and high handicappers. And the idea was to go on the golf course with these golfers and use it as an opportunity to see how they play, but open up conversations about things like course management. Now, for 80% of the golfers, that didn't materialize, and well, I want to share with you exactly the reasons why. I'm not going to showcase all of the bad shots, but I'm also just going to give you a little bit of evidence so that you know it's true that I have been out with golfers. Now, the ones that were having very much a difficult, miserable game of golf were struggling with contact. And if you are struggling with contact, well, you are going to be hitting lots and lots of golf shots, and equally you're just going to get very, very much frustrated. Compared to the golfers that had a more successful round of golf, at least were able to get a decent strike on the back of the golf ball every time, which opened up obviously the ability to score. Before you kind of go down the realms of learning about course management and course strategy, and that's something that I really want to talk about this year on the channel, particularly when the weather gets a little bit better. But what you need to do is you have to be able to get decent contact each and every time, because if you can't sort of do that, then obviously talking about should I hit a 7 or a 6 iron, or should I hit a 7 wood or a 2 iron, or whatever it might be, is pretty much irrelevant and probably quite naive in terms of a conversation to be having. So we're going to use this as a video as a fundamental starter, which is going to help not only golfers I've been out the course with, but I'm sure it's going to help lots of you that are struggling with contact, and then you sort of feel like you're struggling with alignment and you're struggling a little bit with club face. Well, this is going to be your go-to video that you're going to come back to on a number of occasions. First things first, let's keep it really simple. Let's concentrate on just striking the ground where the golf ball would be, or maybe focusing our attention about an inch past the golf ball. Now, it amazes me how many times people come through that door for a golf lesson and they'll be making some practice swings and, well, maybe unknown to them, but they are hitting the ground 2-3 inches behind the ball. We don't want to be doing that. So the first thing you want to do is just make sure when you're making some practice swings, you are striking the ground at least where the golf ball would be, or if not, even trying to focus your attention about an inch ahead of the ball. Now, that will help, and that will be something very, very simple. Now, from a technical aspect, there's a couple of things that we need to do to be able to do that. One is transfer your weight, and the other one is kind of guide your hands in the direction towards the target. So you make some practice swings, you strike an inch ahead of the ball, and you make some swings where you feel like your weight progressively moves to your lead side and your hands are equally advancing towards that direction. I'd sort of say that, you know, the other thing that the golfers were really struggling with was not only contact, but also alignment. And if you are somebody who feels that your friends are telling you that you're aiming in the wrong sort of direction, well, we need to be able to control that as well. So when you are striking the golf ball and you're striking the ground underneath it, or even an inch further forward, we've just got to be slightly careful that you're not doing it this way, where you're moving your head in this sort of direction, because this will, yes, you'll strike the ball or you'll strike an inch ahead of the ball, but what will happen is this will trigger an over the top move. And if you start triggering an over the top move, then you might be able to get decent contact, but you can't really aim straight. So you can't actually aim towards your target. And if you can't aim towards your target, then you aim off, which again, I saw on a multitude of occasions. And then if you're aiming off, then you can't stabilize the club face. And equally, again, the whole thing becomes a mess. So we're trying to strike underneath the ball or an inch ahead of the ball, but I want you to be feeling like you're trying to control that contact point in the backswing. So what this means is I swing back and I feel, can you see the way I just move progressively to my lead side as I'm swinging back? And I let my arms drop down on the back of the golf ball. And the fundamental reason for that is because if you can do that type of movement, you are going to move your weight towards the lead side, and you are equally going to have that ability to drop the arms down and get rid of that over the top move. So you are going to do a couple of things. You're going to concentrate on striking the ground, or if not, an inch ahead of the ball. You are then going to get a feeling that you're moving progressively to your lead side in the backswing. So see, as I'm swinging back, my weight progressively moves more and more towards my lead foot, and that's going to help me strike the ground. Now, once you can do that, and if you can't do that, then shift more and be braver. And that's one of the things that I always try and say to a lot of my students, particularly online students: be brave. Be brave with how much you're moving to that lead side, because you're definitely underestimating it. And if you can do that, then all of a sudden you can strike the ground, you're making space for your hands and arms. And there's one last little trick that you can do in your practice that will make a massive difference. So can you see what I've put on the ground here? I just put down a rubber T-peg. Now, if you're down the driving range, you can use something, but I want it within inside your peripheral vision. So whether you want to put like a towel on the ground or something just strong enough visually to catch your eye, but that is going to be your club face alignment. So what you would do is down the driving range, you would choose your target that you're going to aim for in the distance. You would hover the club above both the ball and the target in the distance, and then you would basically choose something in front of you that you can line up with, or like I say, place something down on the ground if there is nothing there distinct enough to catch your attention. All of a sudden, you see now I'm going to make sure my club face is square, I take my stance, and then I'm going to go back through my routine. Because if you can control your low point, and you can do it in a way where you're doing it more in your backswing rather than trying to do it so much in your downswing, that creates space. Creates space for your hands and arms. It means you can control your swing plane, moving the arms to the side of you. As long as you are aiming and you're aware that you're aiming in the correct direction and you're controlling the low point, then what you'll start to find is that your club face will naturally square up. So as long as you're avoiding a lot of those common mistakes where we're spinning out and moving the head, then you'll not only, next time you play, hit better shots, but you're also going to hit some much straighter shots as long as you practice very much like this, and it's going to make a big difference, I promise you.